Hey up, internet. We are live, and we're reading. We're going to be reading a bit from the Watchtower magazine because I got this Watchtower magazine posted through my letterbox this morning. So I thought it'd be fun to read a bit of it and pause along the way to comment on it. And I've got the atheist rationale with me.
Hey, what's up, Internet? How's everybody doing? This should be pretty fun. Tackling the Watchtower. I usually find these things on the bus, so it's kind of cool they got one in the mail.
Yeah. Um, the, where I live, Jehovah's Witnesses come knocking on the door, and if no one's in when they come knocking, they post one of their leaflets through the letterbox. So that's what happened today. So I thought, yeah, why not? Why not have a bit of a read through it? We're hoping to have Neil with us in a bit as well. He's going to join us, and this is an open stream. So if anyone wants to join, just let me know uh, either here or on Twitter, and I'll link you up. So that said, the first article is entitled "Where Was God?" and the first opening sentence question, if you like, reads, "When tragedies strike, do you ever wonder where was God? Or in your own life, has a traumatic event made you question whether God cares about you personally?" Uh, any thoughts on that first sentence?
You see, I kind of see this as like a sort of like emotional like manipulation. I feel like everyone's kind of like dealt with like loss or something, and they're trying to grasp at that. But like, I'm not sure if like God really has to be relevant in that whole type of situation, you know?
Yeah. Um,
But I've particularly dealt with some loss in my time. My dad had a congestive heart failure and among other sorts of diseases, and he was suffering a lot. And the way that I got through it was knowing that he wasn't in any pain anymore, and that he wasn't suffering. Uh, really didn't shed any questions of doubt towards the God area there. Um, Most of that came from, like I told you in that interview, um, science and just a bunch of crazy stuff you read in the Bible.
yeah. And so far um, we've got Beach Price, Mrs. Snarky, and Shane watching. So shout out to those guys. Thanks for dropping by,
Hey, what's up,
and
guys?
let us know what your your thoughts on what we're reading. So let's crack on. Um, Perhaps you feel as did Sheila, who lives in the United States. Raised in a deeply religious family, she says, "From childhood on, I was drawn to God because He is our Maker. Yet I never felt close to Him. I thought He was watching me, but only from a distance. I didn't feel that God hated me, but neither did I believe that He cared for me." Um, so, what do you think? Is Sheila a real person, do you think?
Well, considering it's from the Watchtower, it has to be some story that they made up. But
Uh,
I can't I can't say that there hasn't been one person in all of the world that hasn't felt something like that. But there's there's other reasons why people have hardships, you know, other than God not being around. Not really sure how to word this. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Um, yeah, I think you're right. I think this is probably a made-up anecdote um, that they've just made up um, because it sounds quite indicative of what what some people think from time to time, and they're really being a bit manipulative, I think, and tugging at the heartstrings, as
Yeah,
it were.
that's kind of what I was trying to get at with what I was saying earlier.
Yeah,
It's
and using emotional um, I can't think of the word, but you know, you, you know, you're hitting on people's emotions basically. To anyway, let's crack on. um,
it's an emotional play rather than any sort of play on anything intellectual.
yeah, why did Sheila have doubts? She explains. My family faced one tragedy after another, and it seemed that God wasn't helping us at all. Like Sheila, you may feel sure that Almighty God exists. How about you? Do you feel that Almighty God exists?
No. I know that the I know that there's several theories to what's it called? Why the expansion of the universe began in the first place, and it's way better to look towards evidence rather than what should I say? Going trying to make any decision through with your emotions, especially in something so large. I mean, like what should I say? There's that whole chemtrail conspiracy, right?
Yeah,
Just because like people feel bad every once in a while, they can't blame it on like the little trails that they see in the sky. I mean, it's
yeah.
it's it's stuff like that that see, I'm not wording this right. I'm
No,
sorry,
it's
dude.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. It's the
it's the same kind of
people
trick that gets
people play
people
on. So
believing
go on.
conspiracy theories. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I think that's why people believe in conspiracy theories as well, because they're vulnerable. They may be vulnerable. They may be hurting. They may be wondering what the hell's happening in the world, and they want answers.
A prime
And
example of this. Sorry, I shouldn't even have brought up that whole stupid chemtrails thing. People who believe vaccines cause autism. There's like a
yeah,
huge emotional play there. If you're a parent who is taking care of this child that in some ways might seem like they're suffering, um, you you'd want to have somebody to call a bad guy. It's almost natural, but it's it's never the vaccines.
no, um, I can't. I can hardly hear you. You're quite quiet. Um, is
Is that
your
any better?
Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah.
All right, I turned my gain up.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, that's much better. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry about that, dude.
No, that's okay. So they're going to quote from the Bible in a minute. he the So yet you may wonder whether that is God, really cares about you. The righteous man, Job, who had faith in the power and wisdom of the Creator, had similar doubts. After Job was pummeled by one tragedy after another, with no relief in sight, he asked God, "Why do you hide your face and consider me your enemy?" What does the Bible say? Is God to blame when tragedy strikes? Is there any evidence that God cares about humans in general and about each other and about each one of us individually? And it's funny they should bring up evidence, because a better question would be, is there any evidence for God whatsoever?
Uh, no, there's absolutely no evidence for God whatsoever. I mean, if he had any influence on the universe, we'd be able to measure it. Besides, there's studies on whether prayer has any effect on whether or not, like, what's the word? You can heal in a medical setting, and it's shown to have like absolutely no effect beyond placebo. Um, also, uh, what I was thinking about earlier when they mentioned whether or not there's any evidence for God caring about the world. There's that whole problem of a quad omni being, and I need to give credit to that new YouTuber whose name I can't remember, but he was
Oh,
shouted out on Godless Ion's recent live stream.
yes, I know who you mean.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool kid, but like
Yeah,
you can't be all good and there still be evil in the world. Um, you also can't be all knowing and create people only to send them to hell during their death. He would know exactly what people are doing way before they even do it, right before he even created them.
yeah, exactly. That's the whole problem of evil and pain and suffering, isn't it? Um,
Exactly.
oh yes, I found the name of that YouTuber. Um, Hang on, no, I'm gonna.
He's really cool. I've watched a couple of his videos. I just can't remember his name.
Yeah, Nurami the Atheist Canine.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, I hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, but yeah, um, yeah, he's a very promising young man, and very talented, and I'm sure he'll go. I'm sure he'll go far. He's so quick plug for he. Is he or is he a she? I don't know. Um, but quick plug for his or her channel.
Yeah,
Um, he,
it's the
they've got,
kid voice.
yeah, he's got 52 subscribers. So subscribe if you haven't already. Nurami the Atheist Canine. Okay, I think we've plugged that YouTuber enough. On with um, on with the article. What does the Bible say? And I was watching it. It's funny. I was watching a telltale. Have you heard of Telltale Atheist?
Yeah, I have actually. I've seen a lot of
Yeah,
his videos.
he's a former Jehovah's Witness, I believe, and he exposes the different cults that are out there. And I was watching one of his videos, and he was saying that when the Jehovah's Witnesses, when they say, what does the Bible say? What they really mean is, what do we, the Jehovah's Witnesses, say that the Bible says? What is our? They're really talking about their interpretation of the Bible. Um, so, so what does the Bible say? What is God to blame when tragedies? Sorry, is God to blame when tragedy strikes? Oh yeah, we've read we've read this bit okay. So so it goes on a personal level. Can any of us really know whether He notices us, understands us, emphasizes with us or helps us with our problems. In the following articles, we will consider what creation teaches us about God's care for us. Then we will analyze what the Bible reveals about God's care. The more you come to know Him through His creation and His Word, the more you will have the assurance that He cares for you. Can we know God through His, through His creation and His Word? What do you think?
Well, it's not his word to begin with. I mean, it's what translations that were put together like 100 different times over. And what was the first half of that?
Oh, yeah. The more, sorry, the
Through
more
his word
you,
and creations. Yeah, it was his
yeah, His
creations.
creation, yeah,
And well, we have perfectly great explanations for why everything is here. I mean, we know about solar system formation. We know about planet formation. We have a pretty good standing theory about how the moon is, or what created the moon, and the abiogenesis model leading to evolution. Is a pretty great explanation of why we're here making this live stream right now.
yeah. And we've got the Godless Iowan watching now, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, glad
So
you're here, man.
yeah, hello to the Godless Iowan. I hope you're feeling a lot better. And yeah, thanks for dropping by. So the next article in this little pamphlet is entitled "Does God Notice You?"
Sorry, dude. I tried to mute that as fast as I could, and I couldn't.
What what was that?
I
Sorry.
was, I was just trying to get to view the chat. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Does God notice you? Okay, so the first heading is what creation teaches us. The first 60 minutes of a baby's life outside the womb is a crucial period of adjustment. Why? Because mothers who bond with their newborn babies during this critical time dramatically improve the growth and development of their children. What prompts a mother to care tenderly for her newborn baby? Professor Jeanette Crenshaw explains in the Journal of Perinatal Education that an elevated level of the hormone oxytocin stimulates the mothering feelings after birth as a mother touches, gazes at, and breastfeeds her newborn. Another hormone released at this time helps a mother respond to her baby and reinforces her interaction with her baby. Why is this significant? The close bond between mother and baby was designed by our loving Creator, Jehovah God. Really?
No, I'm pretty sure evolution explains that one pretty well. I mean, like if we didn't have any of that going on, we'd be bashing our babies. Uh, we need something to kind of compel us to, want to. There's something inherent within evolutionary psychology that causes empathy. I know. I personally don't have any information to look at to source. I myself am not a PhD, but it shouldn't be very hard to find.
No, exactly. Having a quick Google search on evolution will bring up, I dare say, hundreds of websites explaining how the evolutionary process works. But I like the fact that they state that the close bond between mother and baby was designed by our loving Creator, Jehovah God. as if it's fact. And we the readers are just supposed to to accept this.
It's presumptualism. It's the same Cantovine trick, or yeah, Cantovine and Canham. Actually, I meant to say Canham, but
Yeah, yeah. Presuppositionalism.
yeah, I probably didn't pronounce it right.
I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. But that's they presuppose that God exists, and when there's no real evidence um, that such a being exists, let alone any specific God. In this case, Jehovah God. And so the article goes on. King David credited God with bringing him out of the womb and making him feel secure in his mother's embrace. He prayed, I have been entrusted to your care from birth, from my mother's womb. You have been my God. And that's from Psalm 22, verses 9 and 10. Now, I want to pause there because that is a bone of contention with me, and actually, well, it was always a bone of contention with me when I was still a Christian. I could never reconcile the fact that it says in the Bible, in this very psalm, I think it is, that God knits us together in the mother's womb. I couldn't reconcile that verse with the fact that many babies are born deformed or with spina bifida or um, with various genetic diseases, and so
It's not only that. If God created us, why is there? I mean, why does the sperm need to touch the egg in the whole first place? Like, I'm still a genetic product of my parents. Uh, that kind of was what took me away from that whole idea of being created in the womb. But no, you bring up a big thing there. If what's the word? If God really created us, and then like he said, like we were saying earlier, and he was a really an omnibenevolent being, he wouldn't put any of those um, diseases or disorders on us.
yeah, exactly. And I never got a satisfactory answer to that question from any of my Christian friends, or from any of the pastors of the churches that I went to, and I couldn't get my head around it. I still can't.
I've personally had two experiences asking that question around. The first one is usually, like you said, usually just don't get a straight answer. And the other answer I usually get is like, God just wants to give people. I mean, God just wants to have. Sorry, trying to think of a way to word this. God has a story for everyone. He gives everyone specific challenges, but that doesn't change anything. They still have free will. And I'm all like, what about the people that are born not being able to see or hear and never get the chance to ever learn how to communicate beyond? I mean, never learn how to communicate. How do how could you explain how could you reconcile them not ever being able to know God, and for that reason being able to go to hell? I mean, for that reason going straight to hell. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah,
it doesn't fit.
and we've We've just had Neil join us.
Hey, what's up, Neil?
Greetings.
I don't know if you've been.
Sorry, I was setting up my future chats on YouTube when you sent me that link, so I had a bunch to line up, so I'd set them all up first.
Oh, okay, that's cool. We're just reading through this this Watchtower pamphlet.
Great.
I don't know if you've seen any of it. But we're reading an article entitled "Does God Notice You?" And the article asks claims that the close bond between mother and baby was designed by our loving Creator, Jehovah God.
Right.
What do you think about that?
What do I think about that? I don't know why he's even necessary for something like that to even happen. Isn't it a natural process? Like you bond right away, pretty much after birth, when the baby's brought to the mother's arms. There's like an instant bonding that just starts right there, right? And like, where was he then? You know, like where the fuck was he when I was born? Because I don't remember him being around.
Yeah.
And mind you, I was adopted, so I was only with my natural birth mother for maybe a couple hours, and then they took me away. And then 10 days later, I was brought home. I was born to some Catholics, and I was brought home by a Jewish couple. So, yeah, you don't choose your religion. You pretty much are raised in whatever the fuck your parents end up being, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm living proof.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I don't. Why would he even be necessary for that? Like, what's he do? Like, hold them face to face and go, "This is your mom. This is your baby." Like, what's he do? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and we were saying it's a bit presumptuous of the Jehovah's Witnesses to state as a fact that the bond between baby and mother was designed by Jehovah God.
Right. Yeah. It just seems like they're just stretching this God character out even more. You know. Well, he's the reason this happens. He's the reason that happens. He's the fucking reason I eat a bowl of cornflakes every morning. Like, what the hell is this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God you woke up this morning.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God the milk was fucking sour. Great, thanks God.
Yes.
Could have given me a heads up there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Are you in your garden?
No, I'm just out front of my apartment building. There's my apartment building right there.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, we can't smoke inside. So, being a smoker, I kind of got to wander outside to have smoke. So, that's why I jumped on the phone for a bit. And then when I go back inside, I'll cancel this one and jump back in on my regular computer.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Starting to rain here now, but I'm covered by this nice, lovely tree here. So I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Nature's umbrella, the one that God put there.
Okay, so it goes on. Consider if God created such a complex system to ensure that human mother will tenderly observe her baby and respond to the infant's needs, does it not seem logical that God also takes personal interest in us, the children of God?
So now they're saying that God's the reason for a mother's instinct?
Apparently.
Wow. What can't this guy do?
I know, right?
You should tell him to please explain to me what happened to the shows I supposedly recorded on the PVR, because they somehow disappeared. Maybe he borrowed them. He'll give them back eventually, I guess.
Yeah. Notch, our witness, has joined us, and he asks, which Watchtower are we reading?
Oh, why doesn't he jump in?
Yeah,
oh, maybe,
good question. But we're reading a copy of the Watchtower that got posted through my letterbox. The Watchtower announcing Jehovah's kingdom. Does God care about you? So
If he did, there'd be more money in my bank account.
And Mrs. Snarky says, "This God can't take away my dad's mental illness. I prayed for years."
If it did, there wouldn't be any poverty.
That's right.
I'd have a nice webcam.
See, though, he needs the poverty. Those are the ones that tithe, aren't they?
Yeah, apparently, but
Oh,
yeah,
I
I mean,
forget that that's basically who like all these televangelists are preying on.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sweet little ladies that don't know any better, giving up the last of their nest eggs to him. What a dick.
yeah. So
Or people with cancer who think there's no other option than giving all their money
Yeah,
to some guy who literally can't do anything.
Yeah. Instead of spending it on something that might help.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap. Ooh.
So, yeah, Notchar, you got, it's an open stream, so if you want to join, just let me know.
Yeah, come on, Nacha, don't be a pussy.
Probably throw the link in the chat. It might make it easier.
Yeah, if it's open, that's not a bad idea. But you never know who's going to jump in. We might get some crazy proselytizer in here.
Oh, yeah.
That's happened to me before.
You gotta crank it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another quick one, then I'll go back inside. It's starting to get rain all over everything here. Fuck. Oh, it's okay. I still haven't showered yet because I just got home. I ended up sticking around talking to the boss for a few minutes about this gigantic antifreeze order that I had to put together. So.
At least now you don't have to pay for the water.
Huh?
Bad shower joke.
Oh, I'm getting one for free just sitting out here.
Exactly.
Should have brought my shampoo.
Yeah. Anyways, the article goes on. The next heading is what the Bible teaches us about God's watchful care. Jesus Christ, who knows the Creator better than anyone else, taught 2 sparrows to sell for a coin of small value, do they not? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground without your Father's knowledge. But even the hairs of your head are all numbered. So have no fear. You are worth more than many sparrows.
Wait a minute. All the hairs on our heads are numbered?
Apparently, yeah.
You want to tell them to put back number 8,472,000? You know, the older I get, I guess. Actually, the hair in my family is pretty good, so I think I'll be all right.
I'm kind of wondering if I put a follicle under the microscope, if I'll find a number.
Yeah, little tiny one in there, eh? Holy shit, it's right.
It's just like stamped right there.
Yeah, I have a favorite one. I wonder what number that is.
Yeah, and those words were put into Jesus's mouth by Matthew, apparently. Chapter 10, verses 29 to 31.
Huh. How do you get him in there? Shoehorn?
Probably. The article goes on. Few of us pay attention to every small bird we see, let alone notice one when one of them falls to the ground. But our Heavenly Father notices each one of them. And birds, even many birds, are never worth more to him than a human. The lesson, therefore, is clear. You should have no fear that God does not notice you. On the contrary, he's deeply interested in you.
I'm sure he is. I'm not exactly the most exciting person in the world. It's better people to spy on than me. Oh, maybe he comes out to our jam nights. That might be. Wait, no, can't, because God doesn't like rock songs, remember?
Oh, right, okay.
Rock songs are the work of the devil. Like I could see Beelzebub down in the bowels of hell going, I need a new song. We are the world. We are the children.
Yeah. And again, I could never even as a Christian, I could never reconcile the fact that God was supposed to care about me and indeed care about anyone. And yet he allowed so many of his, and still does apparently, allow so many of his children to, to suffer. And
Yeah.
and there are children starving in nations like Ethiopia, Somalia.
Fuck,
And
there's children starving here and in your city too.
yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah,
And
we've got like a whole homeless shelter dedicated to kids here.
he apparently cares so much. If he cares so much about these children, why doesn't he do jack shit for to help them?
Like at least drop a McDonald's coupon in front of them. Or something.
Free Red Robin, something.
Yeah.
Actually, funny you mentioned that. A buddy of mine, as a thank you, gave me a Red Robin card worth like $30 or something. So I might have to go have some Red Robin.
That's like good for one meal.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive there, but it's still pretty good food.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right. I'm going to work my way back inside, and then I'll jump on the computer. So I'll be back with you guys momentarily, all right?
Okay.
All right, see you in a few, dude.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to link you up, Notjar. That should be the one. I've just sent you a link in Twitter, Notjar, so you can jump in. So, what are your thoughts so far, Sean, about this article that we're reading?
Kind of like I was saying earlier at the very beginning, dude. It's just one of those big emotional ploys to like get people to look at their the worst things that happen to them and all the good things and try and find a way to get them to think that God's there and caring for them. But if it were true, like we were saying, there wouldn't be any of that the suffering that we've been there wouldn't be starving children or homeless centers entirely dedicated for them like there is in my town.
Yeah, exactly. And hello to Notjar. Thanks for joining us.
G'day.
Pleasure to meet you, man.
Oh, that's all right. You too, man. I probably don't have a whole lot of time because I've actually got a photo shoot to go to in about an hour. But I figured I'd definitely join in on this one while I'm here.
Yeah, it'd be great to have your input.
I ran around to see if I could find the article that you're reading. What issue number does it have on the front?
It's
at the top.
Number 3, 2018.
Number 3. Yeah, okay. So I haven't actually got that one yet, which is a shame. I could probably see if I can get a copy of it, but that'd be a little bit sus if I go snooping for it.
Anyway, the article goes on. I felt that I was not loved by Jehovah. And Neil's back in the room.
Hey.
Hey, Neil.
Nacho, what's going on, brother?
Not a lot, man. Listening to some Watchtower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've been having fun with this one.
Yeah. And the article says this: can it make a difference in our life if we know that God is keenly interested in our welfare and watches over us with loving concern? It most certainly can, as Hannah from England explains. Many, many times I felt that Jehovah did not love me and that my prayers were not being answered. I thought it was because of a lack of faith on my part. I felt I was being punished or ignored because I wasn't important. I felt that God didn't care. What do you guys think of this testimony?
Is that what that's called?
It's
That's what we used to call it in my church, anyway.
it's kind of
Yeah,
funny that they
pretty much
say
a
that
testimony.
because like a lot of those faith healer people will like use that whole maybe you don't you're not worshiping hard enough or you're not believing strong enough
Yeah.
to justify not getting healed.
Yep.
Yeah.
You hear that one a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
But it sounds to me like with her little testimony, something good happened once and she hopped back on the God train. I don't think that's exactly how it works.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Is this do you think is Hannah a real person? Is this a
course not.
real story, or is this just a made up anecdote?
Quite frequently they are actually real stories, but they are embellished, and the storytelling itself isn't written by the person that experienced it. Normally what happens is these people will have some sort of experience. They'll talk to the elders about it. The elders will think it's a great old story. They'll have it written down in just whatever storytelling way that the person just can. They'll send that in, and they'll have a bunch of these awesome stories at their Bethel, where they can go through the different, the different possible stories. Different ones will work in different places. So sometimes you'll have it personalized to the nation, but a lot of the times they are real enough, like they were based on a real story, but they're going to change the names. They might change a few details, embellish it a bit.
Okay.
That's not that wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
Yeah.
Especially the embellishment part.
yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Well,
Like, sure they
the
do.
main reason for that is a lot of people can't write in the way that you want to read it. The stories the actual person writes up isn't presentable, so somebody else has to rewrite it. And to rewrite it generally means you're going to have to adjust a few things. That's usually about as much as it happens. Like, they are relatively faithful. They're just not. I wouldn't go, it's a true story. It's based on a true story.
Okay. Fair enough. And so we've heard the bad news, if you like. Now we're going to hear the good news. However, Hannah no longer doubts Jehovah's attention and love. What changed how she felt? It was a gradual change, she explains. I remember one Bible talk many years ago about Jesus' ransom sacrifice that had a profound effect on me and helped me feel reassured of Jehovah's love. And when my prayers have been answered, I have often burst into tears because I realized that Jehovah does love me after all.
Well, I thought she was going to say she started crying because somebody was sacrificed.
Oh God.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically the whole thing is like no matter how much like suffering you deal with, God loves you because you're gonna go to heaven after you die, right?
So they claim.
What a paradise, but yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
Where's this paradise?
The problem with evil, can't have a quad omni being that gives you hell as an option.
Yeah, the whole thing it's just impossible. Anyways, like, can't have somebody that has that many attributes like omnipresence, omniscience, omnibenevolence, and omnipresence. That, like, that's just ridiculous. Like, a being like that wouldn't even give a shit about you. Like, it's so beyond. It would be like us actually giving a crap about the bacteria that just happens to be sitting on my lighter.
And to think that there's billions upon billions of galaxies, there's got to be like other planets with life out there, you know? Like,
You'd think. Yeah,
what,
you'd
what
think
about
so.
those
for sure.
planets? Are we special? Or
Short bus special, maybe.
Not Shark. I've often wondered this. What is the Jehovah's Witnesses' view of heaven or paradise? How does it differ to mainstream, the mainstream Christian view of heaven? What's the difference?
The major differences be your like, from what I understand, a vast majority of other Christians have heaven being a place that you go to when you die, and it's the reward, and hell is the punishment. Witnesses don't have anything like that.
oh,
The reward, so to speak, for them is an eternal life on a paradise earth. This is the original intention of the earth in God's, purpose for it. This is why it was originally it was a paradise earth originally, starting at the Garden of Eden, and that was his plan, and his plan is still going to be fulfilled, according to the witnesses. So, when you die, you don't go anywhere unless you're one of the 144,000 that do go to heaven, and they're the ones that are, anointed. They're a part of the anointed class, like they're a special class of JWs, basically. But all your normal folk will go to you'll die, and you just stay dead until Jesus and Jehovah come back and kick Satan out of our realm and take back control of everything. Because at the moment, all the suffering, all that bullshit, this is all because we're under Satan's control. We're not actually under God's control. It's why he doesn't help or doesn't answer prayers or anything like that, because he ain't in charge. And so when he comes and takes back over, he will resurrect all of that are dead into a paradise earth. So you get basically eternity to chill out on earth, and it's like a perfect world. It's all idealistic, of course.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's a major difference.
sounds like there might be a contradiction there with like what even this little Watchtower article is saying too.
Yeah, and that does happen actually a lot, where people, especially when you're referring to a personal account, people will have their personal experience won't always match perfectly with the scriptural or doctrinal teachings, because not everyone has learnt everything. Like, people are all going to be at different levels of having learnt the doctrines, and reading the Watchtowers and all the other literature you got to read.
Yeah.
You'll have some people come from a different faith, so like they'll have that feeling of he should be answering my prayers, like that Hannah girl or whatever. It might have been something that was a lingering feeling from being Catholic or something once before. Yeah.
Doesn't prayer kind of negate the whole free will thing, or God's plan thing?
In what way?
Well, if God has a plan, why would you pray?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is the idea of people are either, if you're praying for something, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, I see.
You can. I mean, like, if you're praying to get something, like, you're not doing it right. Like, it's not about yourself. It's about your talking with God. Like, it's about letting yourself out on God. So I think there's a different dynamic there in what you're using prayer for. Prayer is to give thanks, or it is to show your appreciation and stuff, or ask for guidance. But it's not like literally give me a sign.
What about cure my dad of cancer?
No, because that'd all be active participating in this world, in this system,
right?
And he's not there.
I think we've been
if anyone's going to do anything, it's sorry.
I was sorry for interrupting you, first of all, but I was thinking that he and I might have been thinking on different variations of Christianity rather than Jehovah's Witness.
Oh yeah, I know. I can definitely understand that when you're talking about it in a more general term, because it is they're very different things.
Yeah. Anyway, Hannah goes on. She says, also, by studying the Bible and attending Christian meetings, I have learned more about Jehovah and his personality and the way he feels about us. Now I see clearly Jehovah's backing and love for us all, and his willing desire to look after us individually.
His willing desire. Is that like opposed to his unwilling desire?
Yeah,
It's to show that he loves you. It's a personal relationship that he has with you.
Right. Must be why you asked me to borrow some money.
It just sounds like something you could just turn on and off, though. I'm like, that's probably not something you want in a deity.
No. Stay out of my wallet, you fucker.
Yeah, it's one thing about God. He's very choosy when he wants to help.
Yeah.
When the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Watchtower Society speak about studying the Bible, what do they mean exactly?
When they speak about what in the Bible, sorry?
Studying the Bible.
Oh, yes. Well, what a JWs are sort of expected to do, and what they pretty much constantly do, is they'll go through Bible studies of different sections. A lot of them will go front to back through in their own time, but they'll have, depending on what Watchtower article comes out, what Awake article, what the current topic, so to speak, is. Like, if there's current events, it'll be influenced. They'll basically go through every single line and analyze it to extremes. And if you look at the JW Bible, they've got all the different references jumping around between the Bible. So if you read this one line and you're like, well, what does this mean? You can look at the little references that'll jump you all around to different parts of the Bible to give you rough, like other verses that might help you understand the one you've just read. It might put it into a bit more context, or like the wording is very strange, and so it'll reference to another section where it explains the wording, so you sort of have a better understanding of what's being said. And they will do that to extremes, and they use all of their Watchtower literature as well to try and, as additional sources of studying material. And it's just a constant slug of reading, highlighting, connecting dots that you're told to connect, even if they don't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But what is personal Bible study encouraged?
Sorry, muted for a second. Yeah, absolutely. It's expected.
Okay.
So how do they know if you're doing a personal Bible study? How do they know that you're interpreting it properly?
Well, that's why you go to meetings. That's why you're constantly going over this in great detail when you're actually going to the church, the meetings. That's what you'd be doing.
That's also got to be why they tell you to reference other verses just to understand others, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because to them, that puts it, they think it's putting it into context. They think that is giving it more, or giving the fuller meaning, so you have a better appreciation. But what it's doing is just changing the meaning. It's just, you're taking bits and pieces. You can take bits and pieces from anywhere. They don't realize that they've just been told to cherry pick, and they think it's divine.
Yeah, it's picking and choosing. Basically, every church does that.
Yeah.
seen a lot with a lot of the crazier groups too, like Steven Anderson.
Yeah.
Well, it's an easy formula to use. The Bible is such a vast arrangement of books and literature that you can, if you're given license to pick and choose whatever you want, you can make up whatever you want. You can be any sort of religion and you can have any sort of power that you desire. People are going to follow you because you've just thrown the Bible in it. But you can pick anything, you know, like you can make it all bad, you can make it all good. You know, you can pick and choose so many different variations that you can make it into whatever you want, and people will follow.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I did once think about becoming a wealth, health, and prosperity gospel preacher, just to make money. Because I figured if I preached that God would bless people, so long as they were faithful in tithing to God through me, of course. That God would bless them tenfold, 20-fold, 100-fold, and because that is what people want to hear. And but of course, my ethics won't allow me to to do that. But I could do quite easily.
Yeah,
well, be a good get rich quick.
Do it. Just copy him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think everyone that comes over to visit me is going to have to start tithing.
Yes. Yeah.
I need to make car payments.
It's like I know there's this thing that they say a lot, like you give them $10 and they're going to give you back like 100-fold or something like that. Seems to never happen and people go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going off what you said a little bit earlier.
Well, yeah, but they forgot to go gambling. See, that's how you win it back. You gotta, and then he's on your side, and he taps the dice or the roulette wheel or the cards or whatever, and woo, you're up like $1,000. Yeah.
They're still gambling. It's either a yes or a no, but
this is true.
You're always gonna lose.
Yeah. God, pick my Keno numbers.
And anyway, it's approaching midnight here in the UK, so we'll just wrap things up with the final message on the back of the back cover, if you like, entitled "How Does God Feel About Your Suffering?" And it says, "Consider what the Bible says," and there are 3 bullet points here. Bullet point number 1: God both sees and cares. Jehovah saw that man's wickedness was great on the earth, and his heart was saddened. That's from Genesis 6:5-6. But
his heart was saddened.
There, of course, there's some ellipses. They've missed a few words out there, and I believe what they've missed out there, of course, is that God was sorry that he ever created human beings, and he decided to destroy them all.
How does an all-knowing God? How does an all-knowing God end up with regret of any kind? Because you already knew it was going to happen. What the hell?
Yeah, this is the $64 million question.
And we're facing that contradiction I was talking about earlier. Because like as Nacho was saying, we're supposed, under their belief set, we're supposed to be under Satan's rule, right? So like the real answer there is he doesn't care at all about like what's going on here.
We're having trouble
he's stepped back.
hearing you. Sorry.
Oh, I can hear.
I can hear you, but especially on the stream, you're very quiet.
Me.
No.
No, no.
Atheist rationale. Oh, we're having trouble hearing you.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, that's better.
All right. I don't know why it went down. I didn't mess with anything.
Yes.
That's weird.
It's been pretty quiet. If you check the audio on the actual output on the YouTube stream, your audio is rather quiet compared to the rest.
Huh.
I'm just a loudmouth, so
I'm honestly not sure how to use this Behringer audio interface that I have. I'm super unfamiliar with a lot of the tech side of things right now. So I apologize for the lack of volume, but I'm not sure how to change it at the moment.
Yours isn't the CU, is it? CU1? It's on the cheaper range.
Yeah, I got the Behringer 204 HD. I think it was like $80.
Oh, no, okay, yep.
Yeah,
that's not too bad. Because I know there's a few Behringers. Mine has an issue where it does not pick up audio very loud. It's an inherent fault in the microphone, and I have to use with my filter. Right. I have my filter amplifying my voice significantly. So it might be something you have to think about.
That could be my microphone too. It's a really cheap one. It's from like iRig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
$5.
Exactly. I hope to get the job done.
Well, we can hear you now. You're actually loud and clear now. So.
Oh, that's yeah.
I barely touched my what's it called?
Volume switch. Oh, gain. Okay.
Yeah. Just turned it up slightly. I'm glad you guys can hear me better.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely better.
And so the second bullet point is God will stop all suffering. Just a little while longer, and the wicked will be no more. You will look at where they were, and they will not be there. But the meek will possess the earth, and they will find exquisite delight in the abundance of peace. And that apparently is from Psalm 37. What do people think about that?
The meek? Yeah, I remember hearing that a long time ago. The meek will inherit the earth. Yeah, it depends on how meek they are, man, because I could probably take them.
That's a very common thing, a prominent theme for the witnesses. I know a lot of other religions as well, but that they're supposed to be extra meek. They're meant to be the meekest, and they make such a point about it that it's like somebody boasting that they're humble, like
right.
You mean like that tweet that was shared by everybody repeating the same thing over and over again? Did you see that one?
I probably do. I don't know which tweet.
The one is, oh, hey, lady, I got an IQ of 140 and blah, 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 blah. And she goes on, and everyone would copy and paste the same thing and then spread it. So we had this big giant circle about this chick who's apparently telling everyone to be more humble, yet she's spouting off all this stuff right at the start of it.
I didn't see
Probably
that.
A really big Rick and Morty fan.
Yeah.
I think I saw that one, yeah.
Yeah, oh, you saw that one? Yeah, that went around for a while. Cosmological had it. Many people had it. It's pretty funny. We all just copy paste and then tweeted it out there. And I think the total people that did it, I think towards the end was over 1,000 for sure.
Wow.
So this chick's probably like, what the hell's going on?
Spooky Bedhair says, blessed are the cheese makers.
That's okay. I like cheese.
This is true. Yeah, cheese is awesome.
I'm not supposed to eat so much. But...
String cheese before this stream.
Oh, nice.
Street cheese kicks ass, man. That stuff is awesome.
Hell yeah, it's the best snack food.
You just got to something I learned. I used to bring it to work with me, like the little longer ones that you throw in the lunchbox and away you go. And sometimes I get this chemical that we use in our antifreeze when I blend it up. It's called Bitrex, and it makes it bitter because glycol is naturally a derivative of glycerin, so it's sweet. So sometimes it gets on your fingers, and then you eat something, and then you can taste it, and then you can't get that fucking taste out of your mouth forever. Like, it takes chocolate to defeat it, which I'm okay with because I'm a big chocoholic. But I generally don't have any chocolate handy when I get it in my mouth, and that sucks. So I got it on the cheese strings was my point one day, and the cheese didn't taste so good that day.
And for
He had a good excuse to get some chocolate.
Yeah. Good thing we got a vending machine.
For 50 of Godless Engineer's God points, what is that a reference to? Does anyone know?
Wicked are what? Wait, blessed are the cheesemakers?
Yeah.
No idea.
I'm thinking Monty Python.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Isn't it from the Holy Grail?
No. The Life of Brian.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Best scene in that's when they all go to hide and they're all in like plain sight. but the Romans can't see them. Where are they? Yeah. It's like holding up a thing in front of his face. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Those guys are too funny.
Yeah.
You've got the problem with the name Biggest Dickus.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that scene too.
We Wodja.
One of the best.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's right. Yeah. And so they finish by saying, "What God wants for you, I well know the thoughts that I am thinking toward you, declares Jehovah, thoughts of peace and not of calamity, to give you a future and a hope. And you will call me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you." And that's from Jeremiah.
Wait, so calling him makes you come?
Apparently.
That's why they yell that out during sex. Now we know, and knowing is half the battle.
Yes. But this is a verse taken completely out of context, of course. Jehovah or Yahweh he's speaking apparently through his prophet Jeremiah to not to an individual but to the nation of Israel. If you read that verse in its context, but evidently they like to take verses out of context to fit their narrative. And,
of course they do.
Every single church does it.
Isn't that cherry picking? Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All this cherry picking, and no one's given me a fucking bowl of cherries yet.
No. What the hell?
Yeah. And,
that's okay. I live near the Okanagan. They got lots of great cherries out there. Anyway.
So, the conclusion is draw close to God and he will draw close to you. And
where's my pencil?
But anyway,
where do we draw, Muhammad?
Yes. But I just want to thank you guys for dropping by and joining in this stream. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks for having me in.
I'm always down for making fun of the invisible Sky Daddy. So wait, don't let Steve McRae hear me say that. Sorry, Steve, if you're watching, probably not because you're like busy all the time.
Yeah, and so I just want to thank everyone who's watching on YouTube.
Hi, everybody.
And
see you guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. And if you've liked this video, then give it a thumbs up. And if you're new, then do subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss.
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
And share the stream around on the Twitter.
Yeah.
Cool.
Twitter is a pretty useful little tool.
Okay, bye everyone.